Hey, Nicole.
Hello.
So, this is part of our SLP Business Connect series. I am so excited for Friday. It can't come soon enough. But we talked about how to match your school salary with just 10 sessions a week. And today we're going to be talking about different speechy side hustle ideas that people can start on the side with their SLP degree. And there's a lot that SLPs can do. So we're talking about 30 different speechy side hustle ideas. I
I really
think
love this topic. It means I love this topic so much. It means a lot to me just from different personal experiences that I've had. But I really hope that other SLPs listening to this can see beyond just the general route, whether it's a side hustle or something they want to do full time, that there are so many avenues that you can go down with an SLP degree.
I agree. And I feel like, sometimes just tapping into your creative side can reignite your passion again too. Like I'm not saying that you're gonna start the speechy side hustle idea and it's gonna become your full-time gig. That would be amazing if it does. But sometimes just being creative, having a hobby on the side, if you can also make money from it too, then all the better. But just tapping into that might help you see what you're passionate about. And because the problem I'm seeing is that everyone is so burned out and overwhelmed by the demands put on speech language pathologists that there's like this mass exodus from the field. And so I just want to show that you can stay in the field, utilize your degree, maybe even go to part time eventually in your career, but do something that you love on the side and make money from it as well. So, Nicole, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience so that if anybody can relate to it, that it'll really resonate with them?
Sure. So I went to Emerson College and for my undergrad, my only grad, but I went to Emerson College and got my bachelor's for communication sciences. And while I was there, I was very hesitant about what I wanted to do next. I loved the field. I wanted to work as a speech pathologist, but I didn't know what my next step was. I wasn't ready to commit to grad school straight out. And in my second or third year, I started working with a mentor, and she did a lot of research with different people who are autistic. And so I started working in the FACE lab on campus, and I really loved what I was doing, but I just realized research wasn't for me at all. I love reading the results, but some of the nitty-gritty just does not work for my ADHD brain. It wasn't good for me. So I was talking to her a lot about what I was gonna do next. I'm not ready to go into grad school. I didn't wanna go into research. I don't know what my next steps were, and pretty much most of the advice of what she gave me is, well, if that's like, there's nothing else that you can do in the field. Either you work in a school or you can go work for ASHA, but that's it. Other than that, you need to look into a career change. And I wasn't ready for that either. I loved working with kids. I loved working in my different outpatient placements that I had, EI, but I just wasn't ready for the next steps of getting my master's, and I wasn't ready for just walking away from it all. So that's kind of what started me on my journey of looking into creating my own career path, and in part how I also met Vanita and started working as a virtual assistant, doing social media managing, branding, working with other SLPs and people in other healthcare and creative industries where my SLP degree actually was super helpful, even though I hadn't had a degree in design or marketing. But understanding the field is something that's going to give you a leg up when you are starting out in a new career path or something in conjunction with your degree. So that's a little bit about how I got here.
I love that. And I love that it brought you to Castle. Yeah, I feel like being a speech language pathologist, there's so many skills that come along with that. And for you, I feel like you've been able to kind of niche down. And who also has done a really good job with this is Sarah from Social Moguls, just like servicing clinical and medical type companies. So I feel like that's something that you've been able to do as well with the degree that you have. So let's dive in a little bit into the different things that SLPs can do on the side. And we can start off with different physical products first. So I'll just pick some of the ones that I've dabbled in physical products. So I have created clothing. We created a very successful sweatshirt and bag line, right? The
Mhm. That
Speechy
was very
in my
fun.
Speechy era one. Yeah. So shout out to Taylor Swift for that. And that was totally by accident. It was a giveaway for ASHA, and people wanted it so badly that we then created it after the fact. And then along with that, we created stickers. I have not dabbled in stationery. However, we've created digital versions of stationery that could be printed out, like a daily planner or checklist. My whole journey started off with book publishing. So, if you are not aware, when I was in my clinical fellowship, I worked at a school for autistic children, and I was doing a lot of group therapy, and every week I'd have a different book. But I was trying to help the children in the group prepare for different social scenarios like birthday parties or going to a grocery store, just based off feedback from parents. And I was like, wait, there's no books that are written in a format that is evidence-based. So I was talking with my clinical supervisor about it, and then I ended up getting my Cs. And after that, we started to develop a book series together, and we sent it out to one publisher and it got rejected. And we waited like months for that rejection too. I think like 3 to 5 months. And once we got the rejection, I was like, oh no. So then I submitted it to 12 other publishers, and one of them said yes. And so it got published with Boys Town Press, and we did a series of 5 books. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. And then that started everything else. The podcast, that the Species Side Up podcast was started to promote the books and interview other authors. And then it turned into servicing SLPs. So you never know where your side hustle is going to take you, honestly. Other physical products like materials, I've created digital materials, not necessarily like physical materials. What would be an example of a physical material that you can think of? Cool.
Physical materials, I mean, you can publish things through Amazon Publishing. So I've seen other people publish planners through
Mhm.
Amazon,
Sure.
or even like worksheets for kids. I've seen a lot of people do stuff like that. You can do it through other ways too. But I think the easiest way I've seen people do it is creating it through Amazon Publishing.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people used to publish with Super Duper as well, or like
Mhm.
Bijorum. So, like game boards, flashcards. Maybe that's what I was thinking when we put materials on here. So, yeah, you could totally do that. You see a lot of SLPs who work with those companies to publish physical materials.
Mhm.
Devices, I know there's different AAC devices that people have created between switches and buttons, and trying to think of other devices that have been created or could be created by SLPs. Anything you think that is missing from the field. Most entrepreneurs are looking for a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. And so when I created the books, the problem was there was no books that were evidence-based and written in a simple format that I could read to my students. And so that was the problem that I was solving at that time. So lots of ideas for physical products. Anything that we're missing here, Nicole, that you could think of before we jump into service?
Not that I can think of, no.
Okay. I'm
Mm.
sure there's lots of other things that people have created that you guys could DM us about, but definitely some ideas to get you started. And then different like service-based businesses would include private practice, which we've talked about a lot on this podcast, parent coaching. So this will
We have
kind
a
of go along
course
with
on
it.
that.
We do. We have a parent coaching course from Jacqueline, Jebbie, and Garcia. So that's only available through our Speechy Side Hustle program now, right? And the
Yes,
full
or
year
the
membership.
full year membership as well, yes.
That makes sense. So you could do that, which is always fun, especially if you want to move from doing traditional therapy to more early intervention style. That's a really good option. Professional coaching. So I know a lot of SLPs are moving towards this as well. So whether it be like coaching other private practice owners or AAC coaching or work life balance coaching, life coaching, there's a lot of different options for coaching too. Running camps. So I have actually never run a camp, but I know many people that have. Jordan Levon, he runs an apraxia camp. My good friend runs a nonprofit camp over the summer here. Don't we have a course on running camps too? I think that Christina Royster may have done that one.
I
I'm
feel
really
like
going back now.
mhm. Yeah.
I think we do have one about that as well. So you could check that out on Tassel. Caregiver and Me classes. So I dabbled in this for about a year. I did the Learn with Less certification. And it was really fun. I feel like I mean, it was a really good area for me to go in, especially while my daughter was really young, because I feel like I was learning subsequently while teaching others, but it was very impactful. And especially coming out of COVID, it was a great way to get families together and kind of, you know, help boost their children's speech and language skills by just implementing the strategies that come so easily to us that we're not implementing at home, So, like using an expectant delay if it's just an analytic language processor or close phrases, things like that, giving choices. So, those were really
That
fun.
that also reminds me of something I did in the past too, which I did a bilingual class for children 5 and under, which was really fun and something that maybe I'll dabble with again someday because that was great. We were able to have five to 8 students under the age of 5, and we would do bilingual books, songs, different things like that. But if anybody out there who is bilingual or has some other specified skill set, classes that were really great and different. The libraries around me really loved promoting them.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you do want to do the caregiver and me classes, thinking about where you want to hold them, whether if you have a private practice already, that's a really great way to introduce, get your brand out there or get your private practice out there in the community, but also utilize your space, have different revenue streams. It was a great referral source. It wasn't an immediate referral source because the caregiver and me classes typically went up to 18 months, the ones that I did, but you could do them up to 3 to 5 years of age. And like Nicole said, if you can make it more niche too, that'll help you stand out because there's a lot of outside of speech language pathologists, a lot of people are doing caregiver and me classes for various things. So think about that. Yeah. And if you want to know more about caregiver and me classes, you can either reach out to Ayelet at Learn with Less or feel free to reach out to me at Speechie Side Up or Tassel together. I'd be happy to answer more questions specifically about that. But we have a lot more different Speechy Side hustles to go through. So we'll keep going. Another one could be teaching and training, which is what I feel like we've kind of gone into more with Tassel and our continuing ed network. School contracting. Elise is big on school contracting. That's the therapist support network. We do have some courses on school contracting as well. So feel free to check those out on Tassel through the Species Side Hustle program or the full year membership. I have tried school contracting unsuccessfully. That is a conversation for another day, but I know there are a lot of people who have done it successfully, and it's a really great revenue stream for them, especially if you're already working with the schools. If you can kind of come back and work directly with the school without having a middleman or without working for the school district, you can have a lot more control over your schedule, your time, your duties, your responsibilities. So I would definitely say look into that more if you're interested. Conferences. So, you can get paid to speak at various conferences. I don't think you can get paid to speak at ASHA, but other conferences like our Tassel conferences you can, and other ones that exist as well. So it's something to think about if you like talking about a specific topic area. And then Nicole, I'll let you talk about the next two because I feel like those are your wheelhouse.
So you can also go into virtual assisting or consulting. Each of these, you'd be able to kind of determine what services you want to offer, and it could pretty much be whatever you want it to be. There's so much variability within virtual assisting and what you can offer a client. So if you wanted to do something really techy, if you wanted to do SEO and learn more about Google Analytics, ads, things like that, you could go into marketing, social media managing, something in that kind of wheelhouse, or you could do just basic admin, some side work. You can also niche down in different areas. If you wanted to work with other SLPs who have online businesses, if you wanted to work with other people who offer online courses, if you wanted to branch out into a different field that you've had experience with, you can do that as well. So virtual assisting really is a whole world that you can pretty much make your own and find the clients that really speak to you. And the same thing with consulting. If you became, if you had enough experience in one area and you wanted to say, you know what, I really love social media, I really love SEO, this is how I found it to work for SLPs or other healthcare providers, then you can offer those services to consult with other business owners and how they can start expanding and growing their business. So there's a lot to do in that area, no matter where you are, whether you're new and trying to figure it out, or you've been in it for a while and you're now an expert and want to offer those consulting services.
Yeah. No, I love that. You've done consulting for like starting a business, and I've done
Hmm.
consulting for like AAC, running an AAC private practice.
Hmm.
So we've both dabbled in that a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah. Consulting's always fun because you get to see where people are at in their journey. And there's so many different things that you learn along the way where you really wish you had somebody 5 years ago tell you, make sure you do X, Y, or Z. And so that's why I really love consulting is being able to hand those tips off to other people who are just starting and see
Yeah.
them grow.
Yeah. I know. And I love like answering their specific questions too, because you forget where you start, and like
Hmm.
the beginning questions that people have. So yeah, I really do enjoy consulting too. All right, so let's go into the digital product realm now. So I think when people think digital products for speech language pathologists, they probably immediately go to teachers pay teachers or boom cards,
Hmm.
which I have dabbled in both. And other people have done it way more successfully. Like it's their primary speechy side hustle. Some people I think have even been able to go full time into it for a period of time. It definitely ebbs and flows, and it is like a search engine. So I don't know that I don't want to say this because I think a lot of teachers, this is their complete full time gig. I'm not sure what the landscape is nowadays for growing a teacher, paid teacher, or boom card store. I would say 10 years ago, if you got in, you could skyrocket. It's like when you got on Instagram 10 years ago. But I definitely think that if you like making digital products, you should absolutely put them on Teachers Pay Teachers or Boom Cards, as well as your own website, because you always want to have full rights to anything that you create. And when you're putting it on those websites, you are giving them a cut of what you've created. So whenever I create a digital product, it goes on those websites, but it also goes on my main website. And I just give a small discount for purchasing it from my website, as well as maybe like a freebie too. And it's still like more profit than I would have gotten if it was just on Teachers Pay Teachers. But I would say that it's a really great way to reach new people because they're going to be searching for a specific topic, and your product might be one of those that comes up. Like my forward of the year product is still my number one. And it was one of the first products that I created and put out there. And I know that it's continuously being purchased, not because I'm promoting it, but because it is one of the top products that comes up for that specific term on Teachers Pay Teachers. So, well, I'll let you talk about the third one since that is like our
Of
our
course, as my
complete
CEUs.
yeah.
So, if you want to create a digital product and you visited Tassel, you've probably seen our courses and how you can either offer them for a PDH certificate, or if you wanted to go through the process with ASHA, become ASHA accredited and provide CEUs to your attendees. So, I mean, those are always fun because you're able to either interview other people or be able to speak on a topic that means something to you and offer it for other SLPs for it to be useful to them as well. So, check out Tassel because we love it. And if you want to do more than just an individual course, you can also create different programs. There's a lot of SLPs who have done this really successfully. We have a couple of them on Tassel if you want to check those out too, where you're not just offering one course, but you can offer multiple hours in as a program, or even something that's broken down into smaller modules that somebody can go through and have more of a complete, I guess, learning outcome of what they're going to get from a full program as opposed to just a course that is typically an hour and talking about one topic.
Yeah. So we have 2 now. We have our AAC Connect self-paced program, which is 30 CEU hours, right? Something like that. It's like you
Yeah.
can get your full cycle with that program. And then the new one we just started is 16 PDHs, so 1.6 CEUs, and it is the new Speechie Side Hustle program, which we're super, super excited to share about. So, besides training programs and courses and CEUs, you could start a podcast. And I think I know a little bit about that. I started the Speechy Side Up podcast with my co host back then 10 years ago. This is our 10-year anniversary this summer, which is so crazy. And you can certainly monetize your podcast through affiliate marketing. You could run ads, just general ads as well. A lot of the podcasting platforms allow you to opt in to different affiliate programs. And I've decided that for my particular podcast that I was just going to talk about the things that I love and that I create, that I wasn't just going to put affiliate marketing on there for the sake of putting affiliate marketing on there. But think if you're just starting out, it's a really great way to monetize it, especially because there's a lot that goes into editing and promoting the podcast. So having some type of revenue stream to keep the podcast going is a smart thing to do. And then something that I did not do in the beginning of my podcast was I only recorded audio, but you should also record video. You should actually record video and then take the audio from the video. That way you can post it to YouTube because YouTube is owned by Google and that is very good for SEO. So if you don't know what SEO is, search engine optimization. And it's a great way for people to find you on Google. It takes some time, but I think if you're posting your episodes on YouTube as well as putting them on a podcast platform, you're going to be in really good shape for free marketing, right? You don't wanna have to pay if you don't have to. I'll let you talk about memberships since you are the queen of the tassel memberships.
So you can do memberships with a lot of different things, whether you want to do a membership with your podcast and do something like a Patreon or some kind of private podcasting channel. You can have a membership for that. You can offer memberships for your courses and CEU or programs. You can offer a membership for ongoing consulting or something else with an online business. So there's really a lot of different ways that you can try to guarantee a monthly income with memberships and offer a variety of different digital products or services. So that's really open. You can get creative with that along the way. And that also can go into graphic design too, which is our next point, because you could have a membership for people that you want to give maybe social media templates, or you want to give away a calendar of ideas, whether that's a social media content strategy or different products that they could use in therapy or use in whatever other manner. So, graphic design you can use in a lot of different ways. It's also great for you to understand graphic design if you're also going to be posting on social media. Even if you're using Canva templates, even having that basic understanding of what design rules are can be really helpful for anybody with an online business. You can also use graphic design if you wanted to sell other things on Amazon, teachers pay teachers, etc. So graphic design, you can do a lot. It's a really great side hustle and can cover a lot of different areas. And another one I was thinking of is if anybody's out there who is into photography, a lot of people really like that as an outlet. You can also sell your photography, whether you want to get on like Getty Images, iStock, Unsplash, Shutterfly, any of those websites. That's another great passive income for a digital product because a lot of people will want to download those and then use that over and over again. It's something you're creating only once.
Yeah, actually, Marsha Church did that. I don't think she
Oh,
took the
yeah, that's
photos
right.
herself, but she sold them for
Mhm.
branding. I've used them for my own website. So she created like a stock photo kit for SLPs to use on their websites and in their digital materials. So
Mhm.
great, great reminder. All right. So we put this under the category of startup because I feel like we didn't know where else to put this. But, if you're creating completely new idea, this, I guess, would categorize as a startup type business. But if you're creating some type of software, Little Bee Speech, she's created different apps. There's been several SLPs that have created different, like the SLP Toolkit gals, they created a software for school-based SLPs. So that's something you could create. Like I mentioned, an app. There have been SLPs who've created AAC apps. If you want to create a certification program, I feel like this may even go under service as more like training, but like meaningful speeches certification, the sensory SLP, their certification program, Med SLP, their certification program, knowing that these are not required by ASHA. They may or may not bring additional income for you, but I don't know. I like getting certified in different areas, not because of the certification, but because I like to niche down even more. And I feel like a lot of certification programs are very involved. There's a lot of training that goes along with it. I've also done an orofacial myology training. So those are just areas that weren't covered enough in graduate school. And I'm not going back to graduate school to get certified in those areas, but you can get a lot of mentorship and training in those areas, if that makes sense. You can create like a licensed methodology. So, like the Learn with Less, her program had a specific methodology that was copyrighted, basically. So, her class structure was copyrighted. It was basically how to increase speech and language skills with nothing, like with this stuff that you have in your environment, like with a pen or with a straw. So, that was her license method. There's LAMP, their protocol for teaching EAC. So if you want to create a licensed method, that's an option as well. And then publishing. So you could be a publisher. You could publish materials. Bajorum Speech has done this, right? So has the Sharon Weber from Super Duper. They created their own publishing company. So that's another option as well. Anything else in terms of startup that you can think of? I think with all this AI stuff coming out now, like when I originally created this PowerPoint and these Speechy Side Hustle ideas, I don't even think AI was around. But there is so much opportunity to create something in AI for speech language pathologists or for the families that we serve that we have
Yeah.
not even tapped into yet.
Yeah, from the top of my head, I can just even think of, like, advising different companies or other SLPs on AI tools, developing AI channels or different AI that can help you, I don't know, niche down or help you in your speech sessions. People have been starting to do stuff like that. I think even in ChatGPT, you can create your own specialized AI, your own ChatGPT, depending on the different areas and plugs that you give it, and people have been trying to share that with other people. I know I saw one that helped people create a podcast outline, and it got really specific and would ask you, like, certain questions to help create an outline of what you're trying to say and get clarity. So I feel like that's really a new area. And it applies to all fields. Everybody can use AI. So different ways that you can try to get AI and tech into this field would be helpful since it's so new. So if you have an idea about that, now is probably a really great opportunity. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And so I just want to point out that we covered 30 different speechy side hustle ideas. The possibilities are endless. And we didn't even go into other types of business ideas, like starting a cafe or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or starting, a real estate company or becoming a realtor. These are 30 things that you can do with your current degree on the side. And so I think that it's really important to remember that because I know that our field can be overwhelming and demanding. So I think if you're feeling that way, I hope that this episode has sparked something for you that maybe you could start on the side without completely leaving the field. And, if you try these things and you still feel like this wasn't made for you, then we totally understand. And we're not trying to keep you in the field of speech language pathology, but we just want you to know that there are options and that your degree wasn't a waste of time and a waste of money, that a lot of programs don't even talk about all of these different things that you can do. Nicole was saying her advisor was basically saying you can either go into research or work for ASHA, which is not true. Clearly, we have outlined 30 different business avenues that you can go into with your degree.
And I know that we listed a lot of examples of different people who are doing these different models really well, but that doesn't mean that somebody can start from scratch and build something new. There's so much that you can offer without copying somebody else. And all of us have different skills and different life experiences that bring something new to the table. So even if you have an idea that's similar to something somebody else is doing, I'm sure you can make it different. I'm sure you can make it unique and you can still have a successful business and grow from it. Even if other people are doing it, if Coke started and Pepsi never started, there's so many companies out there where there could be competitors, but they're offering something different. So that means that you can do that too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good reminder. All right. Well, hopefully this helps inspire you. Feel free to reach out to us at info@tasseltogether.com or message us on Instagram at tasseltogether. Thanks for listening.